We're waiting. All right. I think we are live. We are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. You are here live with Nurse in the Know, and you're also here with Yoga Flava and Sergeant Major. Guys, thank you for showing up again on another Sunday. We're on a different platform. So we've got a few things going. We've got Facebook going, we've got YouTube going, and we also have Periscope because we felt like, although Instagram is where we met, coming to Facebook might be a better opportunity for caregivers to really come together. It seemed like we were getting a lot of feedback from different places, and we'll still be posting a lot of the videos that we do to Instagram on our feeds, but we wanted to give more people the opportunity to go live on different platforms and just talk about the caregiver journey, what we've already been talking about. If you'd like to see some of our previous videos in our series, you can go to @YogaFlava or @NurseInTheKnow on Instagram and check us out. But let me just welcome again Ms. Robin Downs and Sergeant Major William Downs. How are you guys doing today?
Great. How are you doing, Bahamia?
Awesome. I'm so glad we're using this platform. I'm just super excited. So if I can't contain myself, you'll know why. One of the things, I guess we can do a little bit of housekeeping just to get everybody kind of reacquainted with what we're doing and what we've been doing. So moving forward, one of the things that we would like to express is our real wish and wanting to have a community on Facebook. So we put together a new Facebook group called Caregivers Embracing Elder Care. We're inviting you guys to join because we really want to kind of quote unquote do deep dives into caregiving and what that is all about. And in that Facebook group, we can create a community that'll allow people to share what they are going through and also get some information that they desperately need. So that's number one. And number two, I know Robin had mentioned it last session that we did on Instagram, but also we want to continue the tradition of doing a meditation group or either meditation or affirmation. How would you say it would be? More of a meditation?
Well, I think it depends on the day. Today we'll do a little meditation. If there's a theme for an affirmation, I'll bring that forward.
Awesome.
And, I think today, if we're ready, because of just everything, the energy that it's taken for us to just be on a new platform and that this is change, just take a moment here to just adjust yourself so that you can lengthen your spine. Sit up and lengthen your spine. And then you're going to inhale, full belly breath, Dad. And then exhale, releasing and letting go of any gripping, any holding, any tension. Going ahead, once again, through the nose, palm on your lower belly so you can really feel your belly swelling like a balloon. Inhale, full belly breath. Exhale through your nose. Let's inhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold. And exhale to the count of 6, a little bit longer. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Going again. Inhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale to the count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So just taking a moment to slow down our breathing, to kind of get in tune. I always talk about getting on the same frequency and sometimes getting in sync with your breath, getting in sync with your loved one or whoever you're in a group with. This helps everybody to stay in sync.
Yay. I just wanted to take a moment to just, we've got one comment saying, love this format. I'm excited to see what's next. Yay. So, okay, good. This is good. We were really nervous. I was nervous about this. Were you nervous?
A little bit, Robin? Excited.
Okay, good. That's better.
It's, I know it's supposed to happen and just really glorious watching it unfold.
I know. too. We're having a good time doing it too. I think that's always something that, I always try to harp on with my caregivers because the fun gets taken out of caregiving, right? We often kind of see people just become caregivers and lose themselves and lose the fun, lose the vitality, and it gets stale. And then that's when burnout sets in. So I'm almost like Captain Anti Burnout. I'm looking for a better word, but the biggest thing that I think if there was a mission for me as a geriatric care manager is to be able to help people who find themselves in that space of really being burnt out and not knowing what to do.
Right. So being able to embrace
Mm-hmm.
caregiving process with joy. I bring it back to, just focusing on the joy in the journey. Yeah, there's going to be obstacles and trials and tribulations, but just, I keep looking out for the joy in the journey.
Yes.
Encouraging my dad to look for the joy in the journey.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about Sergeant Major? Because I don't know that everybody coming into today's broadcast really knows who everybody is. I know we've had smaller kind of, we didn't do too much of a promo, but we've had smaller kind of promos and people knowing exactly, what's happening. But just give the newer viewers an introduction.
First of all, he is the father.
Yes.
we not too long ago we took some DNA. My father is a first generation American born to immigrants from the Caribbean. His father from Barbados, his mother from Jamaica, and he always says he's from mixed heritage because his mother from Jamaica was white.
Mm-hmm.
And that has kind of even accounted for his maybe even perspective on the world. He always had considered himself just straight up American, being raised in this country with those hardworking Caribbean parents, and with such he excelled in school with music and photography. They called him the Flash Football Kid. At the age of 17, he was featured in the New York Times as an award-winning photographer. And I know all my life, all of my pictures.
Retired
teacher. Yes.
Forget that, Robin. It's funny. I feel like every time we do it, you forget that one, and he always comes in.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with him, the Flashbook Kid, because the Flashbook Kid in particular, because I didn't find that out till like just 3 years ago. The Flashbook Kid. It was in his high school yearbook, and it wasn't until I came to the house and started going through all of his personal papers and things that I was learning more things that, I knew growing up that he was a school teacher, and I knew he put on a uniform to be a military man. But spending time with him now as his caregiver, I'm learning more of the nuances that make up my daddy, and it's been really exciting finding out all these things about him.
And a little bit about you, Robin, so everybody knows, in case you're not familiar with Yoga Flava.
Well, the brand that I'm being recognized for in this platform is Yoga Flava, and prior to being a certified yoga instructor in 1996, I come from a Emmy Award-winning media background, outstanding individual achievement in news and documentary for ABC News, the show 2020. And I'm really excited because it's my skills from 2020 where I'm putting together my upcoming documentary that will incorporate my background in media, my background in yoga, and my father's background as well. So kind of blending all of that into the joy of the journey. What are we going to call the documentary?
Yes, I'm super excited. I'm super excited for that documentary. We've been talking about it for a while.
Thank you.
And I know once it's completely birthed and pushed out, you're going to be super, super pleased. So
yes. So a lot of different things that we both have done in our lives, and really proud of everything that my father has instilled in me. So being able to showcase that with this documentary and some of the highlights from my career. I just today was looking at some footage I hadn't seen in a long time where I'm teaching the singer Brandy a yoga session while she's pregnant. I'm wondering if I have to get clearance from her to to use this footage, but it's been fun for me to rediscover a lot of the different aspects of my career.
It's amazing. And I'll just give everyone a quick kind of snippet about how I came to this space. I've been a nurse for the last 15 years. My specialty has been working with elders, mainly the senior population. And after really being at the bedside for the greater part of that 15-year career, I decided to step away and do something that helped people on a different level. And usually, I'm used to at the bedside caring for people when they're at their weakest moments. But after they leave the hospital, just because they're not as weak, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're strong enough to return back to their baseline. And we often at the hospitals would see a reentry or a readmission back to the hospital because people really just could not handle it. They, for whatever reason, couldn't cope with caregiving and then also balancing their own lives. And as a result, their loved one, their aging loved one, would end up back in the hospital, not because they didn't love them, not because they didn't care for them, but because they just weren't equipped with the tools as caregivers to be able to excel and make sure that their loved one just really prospers, or at least with the rehabilitation. So I started a geriatric care management business. I've been quote unquote brick and mortar for a long time and realized that there was a space in the social media world for people who have, issues with caregiving, who are new to caregiving, or who just need some support around caregiving, especially for the aging. And I just felt like this would be the best move. So this is kind of how Robin and I met out there in the social media world. But we have put together such a nice collaboration. I'm so grateful and thankful that we did this. So that said, we've done our meditation. We've gotten our introductions out the way. One of the things that I wanted to kind of get into, and we're going to try to keep this to about 30 minutes or so. Robin and I are notorious for kind of going over, but we're going to try today because this is just an introduction. We've got plenty more to come, and we don't want to scare you away. So we started working on caregiving, care planning. I'm sorry. And so one of the things that we talked about last week was when I start with my families, and Robin kind of harped in on where she was when she started. A big thing that most people don't realize is that planning out what your caregiving journey is going to look like is really, really important. Because one of the things that we've noticed, or as nurse, when I say we, I say nurses and healthcare professionals, is that people are caring for their aging loved ones a lot longer than they used to. We're talking about what used to be a few years ends up being closer to a decade. And we want to make sure that as you get through that space, we serve you in a way that is not only beneficial to you, but also your loved one. So
Robin, I'd like to jump in here because something was brought to my attention this week. Well, first of all, you spoke about how caregiving is happening longer. Okay, and I think because it's happening longer, in production, we call it the pre-production time, the preparation for caregiving needs to be stepped up a little bit more. What I found out from one of my close girlfriends, and I actually saw where she had to jump in and help her aunt. And her aunt had long-term care insurance, but her aunt didn't educate the prospective caregiver as to where all the paperwork was. So unfortunately, the aunt was in need of caregiving, and the person who I don't even know if she was officially appointed, who jumped in, had to look through all the paperwork to figure out, what if any benefits she had. Did find some paperwork in terms of benefits that she had, went to file the paperwork, and was, let's just say, a day or two or maybe a week late in the premium on a $2 million long-term care policy that was not able to be implemented because the woman who put the policy in place did not appoint a point person to handle her affairs. And because of that, she was not able to tap into that $2 million long-term care, and the burden was placed on her family
Oh,
that didn't need to happen.
no.
So all I'm saying is that knowing that people are going to live longer, the
Mhm.
preparation time needs to be in the front a little longer. Don't think you got time, because
Absolutely.
you don't know when you don't know.
Right. And things happen so quickly,
Yes.
right? Things happen so quickly. And I'm talking about, people going in for routine surgeries, or they had a fall, or they had a UTI, and all of a sudden life happens and things kind of have this snowball effect.
Yes.
So, like you said, I'm right on board with you. That's why we connect so well, is because planning is going to be number one. But what was the other thing you wanted to say? Because I know I mentioned service, how we can be of service
Oh,
to
right.
everyone here. Yeah, we can't forget about that because that's what we're here for ultimately. But we want to know. Go ahead.
Yes. Yes. What questions do you have? Have
Mhm.
you spoken to your loved ones? Have you prepared yourself for your long-term care?
Yeah.
I called up my girlfriend. She's the one who told me her story.
Hmm.
And so we're kind of being buddies in addition to workout buddies. I had her work out with
Good,
me this
good,
week.
good. But that's a good point you bring. We'll circle back to that after. Hmm.
But yes, whatever stage you are, um, and this is where it's not silver hair and elder care, because Bahamia pointed out, Rob, not everybody's quite there yet. But wherever you are in your caring for your elder and caring for yourself, wherever you are, everybody needs to get their paperwork in order. So, what I want to know, can you share with me, caregivers,
Yeah.
what stage you're in right now
Hmm.
and what help you feel you need, or if you really feel like you don't know a thing and you need it all. So,
Right.
just if you could just share with us where you are and how we can help you, that's what we're sincerely here for.
Definitely. The support is, I think, primary, right? Having a support group, I say there are certain things about a caregiving circle. When I sit down with my families, I say these are the musts. Like there are no negotiations here. If you don't have a support group, build one.
Excuse me.
And if you feel like you can't build one, borrow one, because ultimately that's what's going to get you through all of these phases. And depending on what disease process your loved one has, it can be very, very overwhelming, to say the least. So those are the things that we wanted to kind of bring to the forefront. And then as far as care planning, I think we'll probably just do like a little bit of a recap, and then next week we'll move into what we had started for Instagram, was basically creating your customized premium care plan. We want to walk you through the stages, because Robin unfortunately had to go through this and kind of like trial by fire, right? You had to learn as you went along. Tell
Yeah,
our viewers about
definitely. Well, once
that.
again, working on this documentary and going through the old footage, I mean, it was at the point where my father was hospitalized, and I didn't realize how bad his significant other, the lady who he was living with, um, I didn't realize how bad her dementia was. All that to say is that I thought she was handling it.
Hmm.
I thought she was
Hmm.
handling it, and her son was helping her, and I, pop in for Sunday dinner. Hey.
Yeah.
But what happened is my father was hospitalized, and I started to realize the signs when I said, "Oh, can you bring over my father's change of clothes?" And I was realizing she was getting lost, even with the cab. Well, she got lost trying to drive herself. She
Oh.
got lost with a taxi driver trying to remember where she was going.
Hmm.
And then she lost his clothes and never bought his clothes
Oh,
to the
shoot.
hospital.
That was tough.
So I had to bring my own clothes, and that,
Hmm.
we talk about jumping in.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
thought I'd have to bring my own clothes the first time, he was hospitalized, and I was starting to realize, oh wow, I may need to step up a little bit here,
Mhm.
because things aren't as secure as they were the last time, my father was hospitalized.
Yep. Yep. And
So
so we're
yeah,
going to
it
be
can change
talking
at any time, and being very, very aware, because it can change really fast.
very, very quickly. And so we're going to talk about those stages, actually. I think one of the things that people don't get the opportunity, especially in the group, so we'll talk more about that stuff in the group, but it's those moments or those junctures where you're really not prepared for something and you have to step in, and you're kind of looking to your left and you're looking to your right and you're wondering who's going to be around to help you or assist you or even just support you in the transition. And there may be one or two people, there may not be. So we're going to talk about what to do in those instances, because that's the other thing is one of the things I want to approach is the loneliness factor of caregiving. A lot of people end up feeling lonely, depressed, isolated because they're in this world of caregiving and no one really knows what to do to support them. And sometimes no one really has the opportunity or the chance to do so because they've got their own life and their own thing. So, all those things said, we want to make sure that as we build our care plan, you take into consideration where you're really at in life. That means what's your family dynamics about? Because another thing I've come across, and that's really been a big part of my caregiving or care management, is helping families manage their family dynamics, all in order to help care for their aging loved one. So we've got sibling rivalry, we've got spousal conflicts, we've got all kinds of things that kind of brew. And
Yeah,
then when
dad had issues with the son of his lady friend,
Mhm.
right? He would always
Right,
say like, he didn't get along with her son because
sure.
he didn't want her to marry his mama
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
because he
Blended families,
the
absolutely.
son wouldn't have been in charge anymore.
Sure.
I know
Blended
that was
families
one of
are
the
another
issues
big
that
thing.
my
I could,
father went through.
yes, I could tell you stories. And we'll talk about some controversial things. One of the things that Robin pointed out to me over the weekend was a video. Did you find the video on Facebook or Instagram? I want to
Well, I
say,
saw it on Instagram first. I'm sure
okay,
it's all over the place. And this is what we had technology. It would be like
sure, now it's
video.
viral, I'm sure, yeah. So
But
I'm
maybe we
thinking,
could put it on our group thing.
yeah, I think I was just about, you took the words right out of my mouth.
All right.
I'm thinking we'll post it in the group to see what the response is. We have our own opinions, but I guess we can hold back for now.
Okay.
But I guess to give you the long and the short of it, just so that you know what to expect. Basically, we have the issues of the in-laws, and long story short, husband goes to pick up his mom in a car, in his wife's car, it turns out, and mom is sitting in the front seat, and wife is not happy with this. That's all I'll say.
What do you all think?
What do you all think? What do you think? What do you
The best
think?
way to handle those dynamics?
Yes. Because ultimately, and part of our conversation, right, was that if these things don't get taken care of now, in terms of finding a place of peace, what was it that you said, Robin? She was going to be.
The daughter-in-law would be the first one to get mama in the nursing home, just out of the house, away from, the son. So
Yes.
is that what you want? Is that what you're setting up right now? And just,
And really thinking about that, right? Because of course it's not her mom, and if there's issues prior to, later on people hold resentments, they hold grudge, whatever those things are.
true.
How do you handle that? Because a big part
True.
of caregiving, if you're choosing to be with your loved one and have them age in place, how do you handle your other relationships? How do you manage them? We're talking about your spouse, we're talking about your children, we're talking about your work environment. Those are usually the big three. But
And
then,
also, you mentioned loneliness for the caregiver. My father's so supportive. He's always like, "Go have a date, go out, have a good time." And then for himself, he's just like, "All right, I'm lonely. Where are all my friends? Did they all die?" So loneliness for the loved one happens sometimes too, right?
I think it's big deal.
Get lonely, and you want
Sometimes
to socialize.
Socialize.
socializing. Do you like to socialize, Sergeant Major?
Yes.
You do. And that's something that we kind of put on the back burner, huh?
Well, especially with the coronavirus, it's just, so heartbreaking to a certain extent, hard. Once again, my father prepared so well for this time of his life. He thought he'd be traveling and socializing with his friends, at least at the senior center. And for that not being able to happen, we're doing our best to be as creative as possible. This is where this platform can be great, and whatever other things can help myself and him engage with other people who are in the same situation, other like-minded individuals, I think would be helpful for everybody.
Very much so. Very much so. I think this community will grow into something that is not only beneficial for caregivers, even though that's my focus because I love you caregivers so much. But honestly, I think my first love has always been elders, seniors, people who are, really at the retirement age, but looking at how they can still contribute. And this is just a wonderful testament to how you are still contributing, Sergeant Major. So I thank you so much for it, because it's not easy to get dressed and look as pressed and impressive as you do.
Well, I'm not a financial burden.
No, and that's true. That's another thing that we're going to raise too, right? We'll discuss a lot of things, but one of the posts I think I did the other day was about that. Was about, do you think, it was a poll I did actually, and you'll be surprised, Sergeant Major. So I did a poll on Instagram, and I asked my followers, do you think that it is, appropriate for children to have to be responsible both physically and financially for their aging parents? And the options that I gave were yes, 100%. And then the other was no, not so much, or something like that. Overwhelmingly, no, not so much. And so, they won the poll, and I thought, oh my gosh,
So that surprised you. Huh?
It did. It really did. It really did. But
and as I look around the scope, that's why I had sent that video to you. I'm like, ooh, not everybody's thinking the same way I'm thinking. Wow. Yeah.
The people have.
So that's where a mother or a father cannot assume, and that's where, thank goodness, my father did prepare well. But I feel he still needed that point person to help execute the plan. I'll say maximally, because I'm sure somebody else might have been able to execute another kind of plan based on the benefits my father had. But I'm sure they wouldn't have done as well as me did.
They never would have. They never would have. But that's the point. They never would have. And everybody has a different relationship with their father or mother. So I'm
right. So I don't have any children. That's why I look to my girlfriend. I don't know if she's going to outlive, but at least let's get everything organized and pick the person who, if you don't make it, somebody else. But getting all that stuff organized, and I'm even surprised, and I keep talking to you about that, Bahami, and helping people with the massive amount of organization that is needed for just your life personally, but then someone else to step in and be your caregiver. You would want them to know your likes and how you want to be cared for.
Absolutely. And just hope that they would carry it out. But at least if there's something there for them to go by. Because I started out my career in the long-term care facilities. And God bless the care facilities because they're there. But I was very much faced with knowing that that's not how I want either of my parents to age. And so aging in place has been so heavy on my heart because I want to make sure that that's what happens for them. And it's so difficult when you haven't got the plan, the finances may or may not be there, and you've got your own life. So I've always I tell Robin that I do this work a little selfishly, because I'm thinking about my parents and I'm thinking about myself.
Exactly. That's how I feel too. This is our party spot for us.
Exactly.
We're setting it up now.
Setting it up.
How we want to be taken care of.
Yes. And I'll come in, I'll be like, look, I'm the executor here. And Robin would not want that. Or she would. And so it's really important to have somebody like that on your side. And so we'll talk about all these things. I think this is a great start, but we've got loads to talk about, plenty of things to kind of chew on, and just also really get feedback from you, the viewers, who have questions We've got answers for days, and we're here to help you and support you on your caregiver path. But that's all I have for today. I don't know. I think we could close it out. We're right at 30 minutes. We're doing so
good. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
Let us know, please, drop a line, drop some notes, how we can move forward and be of service to you. We're so looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sergeant Major. Thank you so much, Robin, for taking the time to just do all of these live broadcasts. I know they're not as easy as they look, but we're making it.
I'm enjoying it. Thank you, Bahamia, for putting it together.
Absolutely. And so we will see you guys next week back here in the Facebook group. We'll probably broadcast from the Facebook group. I think I've got it here already, so that everybody can kind of join in. We'll, be able to answer questions and be more interactive. Okay.
All right. See you in the group.
All right. Adios, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Caregivers embracing elder care.
Yay, we got it. All right. Okay. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.